Hello. Hello, Backstage Pass. Let's make sure we're actually live. By that, I mean actually live. Let's make sure we can actually live. Okay, I'm losing my mind. Sarah just messaged me asking if she needed to get a load of this. So everybody brace for impact on a weird one from Sarah. It's probably just gonna be the last tweet she saw. Hello, everybody.
Howdy.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. Danny, Kyle, have you met Kyle, Danny?
Yes, I think we have. I'm pretty sure we've talked before.
I don't know. I'm not sure, actually.
Fuck, man. Fucking, this is what happens when you watch podcasts.
Yeah.
You just like, you exist in a world where you assume that the parasocial world exists for all of us. None of us can escape it.
Yeah, Kyle, you do
Yeah,
realize
I think
that
you and
Danny
me had that really long conversation about Half-Life that one time. I was really quiet, but I just...
That sounds about right. Well, congratulations on your terrific baffling. I wish I was that diligent with my sound recording.
Oh, honestly, it's just really sloppy and lazy. Like when we did.
I'm talking to Kyle.
Oh, I thought you're.
Kyle's talking.
Sorry, that you're going back to.
I can't see anything with your weird backlight.
It's too much. I agree. I need to fix this so the camera that you see is the camera that they see because it looks like an abomination for everybody.
Oh,
it's like, what is with your
looks great on show.
basement?
Okay.
Yeah, it looks good enough on show. Your background looks lovely. You got a nice TV behind you. You can put stuff on there if you really want to.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just you can see the reflection of the camera in it.
It's kind of fun. I mean,
I should have somebody look through the window every now and again, just like freak me out.
I think that's the fun thing, because like everybody likes seeing the camera reflections every once in a while. It's like, oh, a little peek behind the scenes. It's fun.
I feel like I need more either board games or video games here, though, because you guys are putting me to shame. Look at that.
We do what we can. Jeff, is your mic working?
I believe so.
Okay.
Is it? You tell me.
Yes, and how? Jeffem, Danny, I assume you two haven't met Danny, Jeffem?
Pleasure. Yeah, once again, I feel like I've met all of you. Have we met before? Who knows? It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's all a blur. All right, let me see how Kyle's looking here. So Danny,
Yes, what do you need
25 minutes. I feel bad for upping it all the time, but I don't know how long we're going to be talking about these things.
I have worst case scenario. I have nothing to do for 55 minutes at least.
Okay.
I'm happy to bounce out after 25 minutes. You just tell me when you need me and when you don't need me, and I will happily. I'm just happy to be here. Thank you.
That's very sweet. So the confusing thing is, just to let folks listening know that we swap people, the way we do it, Kyle, is your dog or child alive back there?
Oh, yeah, the child is in her own work thing, and then the dog has to make up its mind, basically.
I see.
Are you in or are you out?
Anyways, the way we let people know, Danny, that people are in or out is by clapping. And so basically, yes, Kyle, cute dog.
Oh,
it's very cute.
Oh, it looks like Reichert's dog.
It is the exact same kind.
Yeah, it's the same. Yeah. It's the same as type dog. Yeah, I took Reichert's dog.
Honestly, was it inspired by that? Like, did you see a picture of their dog and say, "Well, that's a good standard dog"?
No, my wife Googled chillest dog, and that's what we came.
It's awesome.
That's amazing. Anyways, Danny, the point is, you're gonna clap once, and that'll be you entering the show, and then at the end of this whole chunk, you can clap again. That'll be you jumping back out. So really,
beautiful.
Whenever you
but
want,
I don't record on this end. You just handle it all.
I just capture it all, and it's a mess. Amazing. And yeah, we did an interview with Vinny a while ago, and he was fucking horrified at that idea of like, what are you talking about? You don't capture locally. Like,
yeah, that's a man who has like 12 redundancies for everything.
Yeah, he's much smarter
belt
than I am.
And suspenders. Yeah,
we did it locally for a couple episodes, and it added 20 minutes to the process post, and then also nobody noticed when the shift happened or when we shifted back. And so, you know what are we doing here, everybody? Okay. So technically this is like the middle of the show that you're jumping into and that everybody else is jumping into. And Kyle and Jeff, especially you, Kyle, none of that stuff about like time travel jokes. Like, I want to make this seamless for the listeners because it's just confusing. You know what I'm talking about, Danny, when podcasts
I
always
was
do
thinking
that?
about this ahead of time, and I was like, I know Hanson's going to specifically tell me not to.
I just hate it.
Right. I need to stop. Like,
It's like-
the joke's only funny to me.
It's my least favorite thing when podcasts also acknowledge that their previous episode was deleted or not recorded. And they're like, okay, so we're doing it again, and that's what we're doing here. It's like, you don't need to do that, everybody. Just people won't know.
Suffer in silence, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, anyways, Danny, clap in whenever you're ready, man.
Okay.
Danny O'Dwyer, welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. How you doing?
Pretty good. From No Clip and Giant Bomb. How do you frame that these days? What is your
Weird, right?
title?
It's very weird. Everyone has 15 jobs, and people on the internet are not an exception to that rule. Yeah, I am also now on the Bombcast quite a lot. I'm doing quick looks on my own sometimes. With other people.
Solo quick looks. It's a bold
very
move,
strange.
man. Is that
Yeah.
comfortable over there yet?
Yeah, it's fun. It's good fun. I mean, they lost a shitload of people, so I was like, "Hey, you guys, they're just like my friends now." I'm like, "You guys, all right? Do you need help? You have a European-sized hole in your stuff. I can jump in for a while." And I was only meant to jump in for like a couple of months, and then more people left. So I'm just gonna just stick it around for the moment. Who knows how long it'll be?
Yeah, and now Voidburger's there, so she's taking your
Yeah.
spot. Is that going to be the hot swap here?
That's good. No, I don't. Oh, news to me. I guess. Ask me in a week if I'm still there.
That's fair. Danny,
yeah.
I thought of you for this episode. I wanted to have you on it because Age of Empires 4 is out this week. And I feel like us Age of Empires fans have to stick together. We got to do a weekend just to try.
Yeah, why are me and Jeff in here?
Kyle, did you
don't
bring
need
a
us here
book?
for this.
See, this is the crap. This is what we have to
grab
deal
my
with.
Switch. I'll play some win back. On
Every
Nintendo
time we
64.
bring up a historic, legendary game, everybody always goes for the jokes about, it's RTS, they're boring
Hey,
and dry.
what's more historic than Operation Winback, the game that invented the cover system?
That's
That's
right.
true.
That's right. It's very historic and lovely. I just don't recommend playing it. We
the
played it on
Switch.
the stream, and it's all right, you know? We'll be playing it during Extra Life, I think, because it's kind of a fun, wonky multiplayer mode. But Age of Empires 4, Danny, let's
Yeah.
jump into this sucker a little bit, because everybody's stepping on its thunder. Jeffem cracking these crude jokes, but then also like the big review embargo, which it's like, it got pretty good reviews. It's sitting somewhere in 8s and stuff, you know, mainly. And then like the review embargo lifts, and then it's also the same day that they're like, Halo Infinite's campaign. Everybody look over here. I'm like, Microsoft, what are you doing, you
I
idiots?
know they did it to themselves.
Space it out.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it says a lot, I guess. But Microsoft have done Age of Empires right over the past like 5 years. Like I remember when this whole initiative started, because like, yes, this is the first numbered Age of Empires in like 15 years, but they have done, you know, definitive editions of all 3 games. Like I can't think
crazy.
of another, you know, time a company has done that, especially considering like how different 2 and 3 are. They're completely different games, engines, everything.
Oh,
So-
yeah. I mean, definitive edition, but then also just having the HD version, then you can include Age of Mythology. And then when you tack on the
Right.
idea that they're releasing new expansions they released 1 for Age of Mythology and then like 700 for Age of Empires 2. It's wild how hard
crazy.
they're trying to push this boulder up the hill, only to be met by scoffs by Jeff Marchiafava. Look at all those board games behind you. You're too cool for Age of Empires, man.
No, I think it's great. I only said that because I knew that you guys were the ones who were going to talk about it and are the ones with experience about it.
Thank you. That's very kind
So-
of
But
you.
I mean, you're not wrong as well. It does occupy like a very weird like hole within, you know, real-time strategy. At one stage, it kind of was real-time strategy, right? It was the biggest of the bunch. There was Command and Conquer as well, but that was more, you know, combat focused. But it's funny how, like, I know Age of Mythology sort of ended up being a spiritual successor to it all, but games like Rise of Nations, the type of game that Age of Empire is, kind of did disappear. Like, you know, you'd StarCraft and then you would like city builder games, but Age of Empires is kind of like a weird, like nowadays it's like a weird half and half between, you know, a kind of a city builder economy game and like a combat game.
Yeah.
Well, before it was sort of like, I don't know, the standard. Now it is still its own weird thing.
And that specific groove is an RTS that's, hold on to your hats, everybody. It's a chill RTS. It's one where you don't have to get down to the millisecond of your build order and study everything. And like when I played StarCraft 2, like peak StarCraft 2 playing is like, you'd be a minute into a game, be like, this game's ruined. This is effed. There's no chance of coming back from this. Whereas, like, honestly, at least the level of Age of Empires 4 I'm playing at right now, it's like, hotkeys if I feel like it, which like for an RTS is a pretty weird move.
Yeah, it's you can tone it down. I know if you play online Age of Empires, it does tend to be a bit more. You got to know your QEs for your farms and your QEs for your houses and all that stuff. But yeah, like go play that AOE to DE and just listen to the music, and that tells you what type of game you're playing.
Yes,
it's just like doodle-doo-doo-doo. We're out. It's like it's from like the world music section of Tower Records. It's just like doodle-doo-doo, but like played on like a IBM synth or something. It's just like, and all the voice acting and all the like, wolololos, and it's just like a, even the combat in that game is kind of silly because it's, trebuchets firing against elephants, and like it's not never really was like it was serious in its sort of it was kind of like the video game version of like Encarta Encyclopedia or something. But it wasn't like the game isn't in and of itself is kind of like dorky and silly and fun. And I think Age of Empires 4, it's very much like in the ilk of, obviously it's 3D like 3, but it's very much vibing off of Age of Empires 2. It's like a sequel to 2, right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's the biggest shock is, I mean, maybe it's not a shock if you're Microsoft, you're looking at, okay, what's the best-selling Age of Empires? I'd have to imagine it's Age of Empires 2. And okay, we're going to bring it back after so long. It kind of feels a little bit like that, we talked about it on the podcast a while ago, but almost that kind of conservative design sensibility that even like a Metroid Dread has, where it's like, if a franchise hasn't been around for a very long time, it's okay to be a little more faithful. You don't have to reinvent everything. Just give people what they've been wanting for so long. Because yeah, I mean, Age of Empires 3 was what, 2005? 5,
I think.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. But the only wrinkle in that story or execution, and I'm not sure how important it is the fact that they have put out these definitive editions of 1, 2, and 3. So like Age of Empires 2, a modern version of Age of Empires 2 exists and has existed for 2 years, and it's really good. Like they nailed it. Like it feels good. They've been patching it. Like there is now this flood of Age of Empires YouTubers, which obviously couldn't have existed before because it was pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
The mod support has been terrific. The community maps have been great. They've been doing esports tournaments every year.
They added the Battle Royale to Age of Empires too. Like it's just insane.
It's wild. So in that respect, Age of Empires 4 is the story is a little bit weird because when a lot of its best features are stuff that we have seen in Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. Obviously, it's like higher budget. The campaign has all those beautiful videos and all that sort of stuff. But in terms of the gameplay, while they've made little tweaks here and there, it does play very close to AoE 2. The one exception is the Mongols, which are like a complete game changer.
I think you're totally right. Yeah, I think overall, compared to Age of Empires 2, I think it has more of a differentiation between all the different civs, not quite to the extent like Age of Mythology has, but you're totally right. Like going through all the different civs, it's okay, I can wrap my mind around these people. Okay, got it. And then you get to the Mongols, it's like, what is this? What is this complete upending of the tea table for Age of Empires? Because the whole idea, Kyle, is, in Age of Empires, in RTS games, you like build buildings everywhere. With the Mongols, they're all about, the Mongols, what are they about?
Pillaging, destroying.
Yeah, that sounds good. Staying on the move is a general idea, right? And so it's like, okay, we want them to be raiders in this game, so all of their buildings can be mobile. So it almost harkens to like a Terran in StarCraft, I guess, a little bit, where you can fly the things around. But it's just so weird to have one civ that's so wildly different. And are you digging them so far in Age of Empires 4, Danny?
Well, I suck at them because I just don't know what, it just seems completely insane. And like the idea that you can move your town center means that like I don't have to build 12 lumber camps that are getting increasingly closer to the eroding tree line. You can just move the thing.
And that's the crazy thing is like right out of the gate, it's like, okay, I'm just going to move my town center directly in between the forest and the berry bushes. It's like, what a luxury.
Done. And they do have something to collect, which collects everything. They also have like an automatic stone collector, which super threw me off. And then also instead of farms, because of course they're nomadic people, they don't create farms. They'd have to just abandon them all the time. You have these like things that just generate sheep out of thin air.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that about? I was like, the first time that happened, I was like, it's like a portal or something. A sheep appears that you murder it. And then another one, 90 seconds.
It's got everything you need. So who are you going for? Who's your civ so far?
I'm really enjoying the the Mongols. I think that's I would have traditionally always gone the Celts, which was more because they kind of speak a fake version of Irish.
Ooh,
in Age of
that's fun.
Well, actually, it's probably closer to like what Gaelic was back then. But it always sounds a little bit Irish, so that's I'll mix with the other tech trees, but I like them. They're nice and primal. But to Colin's point, there is actually a buff for the Mongols for pillaging. If you burn down buildings and stuff, you get gold for it. Is one of the it's on
That's
the tech
so
tree. I
fun.
think it's maybe the first age building that you get. What did you make of that? The fact that like they've done a really good job of delineating. I think this game does a way better job, even of 2DE, of delineating which buildings are going to unlock and which ones are in the next age. And then also having that sort of way of skipping the ages where, kind of like the Castle Age in 2, there is a specific building which says you are now kind of moving to the next stage.
Right.
What do you make of all that stuff?
I think it's interesting not to lock down the town centers with upgrading the next age anymore. Like, I think it's a smart move. Just be like, okay, just build this and then you'll be kicked in. And especially where it gets wild is I'm mainly focusing on, I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, Abbasid dynasty, Abbasid.
Yeah. So how do they play?
They're really
Are they the other
funky.
weird one? There's another one that's a little bit strange.
They're a
right?
little funky. Yeah. So their thing is they have, what is it, the House of Knowledge? I forget it's called, but you build one building and then you're going to the different ages from that by adding wings onto that. And also it's a weird, funky thing where the more buildings you build around that core House of Knowledge, oh, I'm probably butchering the name, but it adds like weird bonuses. So if you have 10 buildings around that building, then every villager, the first one is every villager gathers everything 10% faster. And there's like 4 tiers of that until you enter the golden age. So I really like them just for something a little funky. And like, they have interesting details too, where it's like, okay, because it's a Muslim civilization, you can't harvest boar, but you get more berries on return. So it's like, there's smart little interesting details here where it's like, hey, turns out this is a team that's trying to pay attention to history, which is kind of cool.
And I'm glad they've at least put in some of that variability in those 2. And there is probably more in the other 6.
There are,
but the fact that there's only 8 civs is kind of... I think that's just the cost of modern game dev, though, right? Is that if you're going to have that level of detail with these buildings, it's harder to have 25 civilizations.
I think so. I'm happy with the variety of the civ so far. It's definitely like, okay, you're going to be fighting a lot of spearmen across everybody, but still, I feel like there's enough distinction here. We're having 8. You're still going to have a lot to experiment with. Only the Delhi civilization has elephants, like fun stuff like that helps shake it up. But yeah, what do you think so far? I mean, what do you think overall about the package here?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think, like I said, if you hadn't played Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, but you were still an Age of Empires fan, and I'm not really sure where that Venn diagram comes out, to be honest.
Right.
I think this game probably hits a lot harder because it's really ticking all the Age of Empires 2 boxes very well, and it has nice modern flourishes. Like I like how the towns little paths get drawn automatically between like buildings you put down, or like sometimes a washing line or a well appears when you're like they look more like towns than the sort of pure grid that was in 2, but it still has a feeling of a grid. It's not like 3 where when those games go 3D and they don't have that grid anymore, they just don't, it doesn't snap and feel good. It's not SimCity anymore. It's not, you kind of need that feel. So I think it does a really good job. I think the campaign stuff is really good. I was surprised how much I enjoyed the video vignettes. They're so well produced. It's like something you'd see on BBC.
It kind of feels like, this has been, I mean, they announced this game back in 2017. There's a part of me is like, are they just looking for a way to spend Microsoft's money here by having like these wild, basically, Jeff, they have like documentary, vignettes between the campaign missions, which it's kind of cool because like, okay, this is where the Battle of Hastings happened. And then we're going to actually put like the outline of Age of Empires units like in that as we have a drone cam flying over it. There's cool stuff in there. They're really swinging for it. I don't know if that's just so they have something for marketing to push rather than the classic thing, Kyle, of doing everything they can to hide the gameplay in an RTS game when they're trying to get people to pay attention to it. And now they can just be like, look at this trebuchet, it's wild.
The famous what was the Tim Schafer, what was the Double Fine one?
What is this?
The RTS, the Double Fine.
Brutal Legend.
Jack Black. Yeah, Brutal Legend, where they famously intentionally did not say it was an RTS until the game came out.
Right.
Yeah, it is kind of like they are hard games to add to, right? Because if you add, you make it more complex. And the purity, I think, of Age of Empires is that it is one of those real-time strategy games that people like me who are bad at real-time strategy games can really pick up and play. Like me and my wife played Age of Empires 2 DE on LAN here for most of like quarantine.
Oh,
that was our
so
go-to. Was we'd play skirmish games against the AI, or we'd like, you can do all the like putting yourselves on the same teams or different teams, or like messing with the map styles and all that stuff. I will say the one thing that I'm a little bit disappointed by is the amount of maps available in skirmish mode. There's only like 16 or 17, and again, AoE 2 has got this huge lineage, so of course there are 50 or 80 maps in that, and the community maps. The community maps will be coming to this. They're not in there yet. There will be mod support apparently. It's not in there yet, so I'm hoping that stuff gets added. But as an Age of Empires package that was made by a team who didn't, and this is Relic as well. This isn't, the Ensemble don't exist anymore, haven't done in a decade, and Relic are no strangers to RTS games, but they haven't made this type of game. I think it's hard to argue with what's here. I think it's really good.
Yeah, it makes me really happy to play it. I'm going to be playing a lot more, and it's kind of fun. Even people like Dan Reichert, who's a big Command and Conquer guy, right? And like we played a little StarCraft together, but not much. But even he's like getting into it at this point, and I'm hoping that like some online competition will get him even more into it. But it's nice to see like every RTS fan coming out of the woodwork to be like, all right, I'll play this one that's nice and relaxing and not too complicated, pretty conservative for game design back for even 1999 standards with Age of Empires 2. It's kind of just more of that, but it's so nice to have. Plus, I mean, it's a hell of a week for RTS games because you got this, you got Dune is tearing up the box office charts, and like as an RTS fan, I always feel like some connection to Dune, like that's the origins, baby, and now.
Okay, let's talk about Dune for a second.
Yeah.
You mentioned the fact that you don't have to upgrade, use the 10 center to upgrade ages anymore, which is great because then that means you can free yourself up to make more civilization and make more people. Age of Empires 1 had the same problem Dune had, where you could only do one thing at a time. Do you remember that?
Where there was a character named Duncan Idaho. Yeah.
What? Is that really a thing?
Is there a character called Duncan Idaho in the Dune game? Are we talking about Dune 2?
That's who Jason Momoa plays in the Dune film.
Is that
Duncan
really?
Idaho.
I love that movie. Danny, I know you're seeing it later, so I'm not going to spoil anything for you.
Yes, later today, yeah.
It is just one of those weird sci-fi things of like, oh, it's this fantastical world. You're trying to like pick up on every word of like, okay, what is this? What are they calling this? What is this? And then it's like, and then Paul and his mom, Lady Rebecca. It's like, what is this? Come on. I have to turn the subtitles on to understand the basic concept of everything else in this world except for Paul.
Dude, I have a 3-year-old daughter in California, right? So, and she has a non-standard name, and all of her friends in her class are like, I went to Ireland Catholic school. All of our names were pulled out of the Old Testament, right? So I was playing with her yesterday and making up names of characters, and she has this character she plays with, and its name is Jack. And I was like, what about its brother John? And she looked at me like I had 2 eyes and said, John? What the fuck is John? Like all her friends' names are like Tiger and like, fucking Duncan Idaho, and she was like, John. Yeah, so Dune makes no sense.
Yeah, it's a mess. But Age of Empires 4, I'm sure we'll be talking about it more. I want to be streaming it as well. It's so weird to get into this game before it's out. I think it's like the first, probably a sign of the times, was the first RTS that I've had before it came out. Maybe like some of the StarCraft expansions or something. But it's so weird to, like, I just want to like look at high level strategy for this Civ that I chose, and I end up Googling about the dynasty. It's just a bunch of stuff about the actual dynasty. I don't care for it. I'm just looking for, give me some tips here, everybody. So it's
I'm looking forward to Spirit of the Law as my go-to YouTube channel for Age of Empires. I'm looking forward to them getting getting into the nitty gritty. Like, okay, actually, best thing to close it out, the best thing about Age of Empires 4, you can build fucking 8 farms around the mill without having to like do that weird fucking how do I min-max about min-max, how do I min-max the amount of the distance from the farms to the thing, because I've watched like 3 videos of his where he goes into like the best way to place farms. That's where we're at.
That's perfect. Also, I mean, it's on Game Pass for PC and stuff, so if you love Age of Empires 2 and you miss the genre, like, absolutely jump in. It'll be pretty cheap for 1 month just to give it a whirl. Hey, Kyle.
Yeah.
Okay, there's also this game called Guardians of the Galaxy that is out, and you've been playing it, yes?
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
I think there's 17 chapters, and I'm on chapter 7. It's surprisingly long.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I guess I saw online it's like somewhere around 16 hours, depending on how much time you spend. But yeah, it's an RPG, so I guess it makes sense, right? But
it took me a little off guard. I thought it was going to be like a 8-hour story experience.
Yeah.
Not a complaint.
No, so I'm like in chapter 4. Danny, where are you at?
I think I'm around 5 at this stage.
Okay. I don't know how everybody else is feeling about this, but I started it yesterday, and I really like this game. I like it so much more than I thought. Kyle, where are you at?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I was thinking about, because I've been, as we all are, I'm sure, starting a lot of games right now in this season. That's how it goes, and like I'm fairly confident this one I'm seeing to the end. Where Far Cry 6, something I really enjoyed and had a good time with. Like I don't really think I'm going to finish it. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy has caught me off guard. I don't think I was as turned off as most by the sort of early presentations. But like even still, I was like I'm very quickly on board. It's kind of structured a little like Mass Effect to me, it feels like.
Yeah.
And in both like just the way the game functions and also in like the era it kind of comes from. It feels closer to like a 360 era game, just in the way it's more linear and it's like story focused. You do a level, you get a cutscene. You do a level, you get a cutscene. But yeah, once you kind of get over the shock of like looking at the Guardians and being like, these don't look like the Guardians I know, and then you start to accept them as Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm really enjoying it. I'm having a really good time with it.
Yeah, that is the thing. In talking about the kind of like old school nature of it in some ways, because it looks good. I'm playing a PC, and I think the faces in particular look really good. But then there's those moments of like puzzle design, like environmental puzzle design, where it's like, okay, it almost feels a little like a Lego game at some point. It's like, okay, Gamora, you can slice through these vines, so you go over here. Drax, you drag this thing over here. It's like, I remember on the visiting Vigil for the Darksiders 2 cover story trip at Game Informer, and they used the term nuzzles, meaning not a puzzle, where it's just a thing you have to move over here to move on, and I can't stop thinking about it. And this game is a very nuzzle heavy game of just, you're never going to be stuck, but it's just a lot of little things you got to do to progress. Danny, where are you? How do you feel about it? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say with the puzzles, just really quickly, of like just pointing specific characters towards, doing something.
Yeah.
It's all in service of like just creating really good characterization for everybody, and really like they're really good at sticking to like who they are, and part of that is in the design of the game in a strange way.
Yeah, I think that's true. And even like small things, I think they do a good job of bringing out personality about just, pretty linear environments that I've seen so far. But it's like, okay, I'm going to go collect some scrap over here for some upgrades. And even as I'm doing that, characters are like giving me shit about like, oh, going to explore everywhere, but where we have to go. But it's like, that's the big thing is they do not stop talking in this game. It is a lot of dialogue. I don't know. But Danny, are you as warm on it as we are? Where are you at, man?
Yeah, I think this is a really good example. I can't think of an example in recent times of a game where I think its poor showing in preview is actually going to make people like it more.
Interesting.
I went in with such low expectations for this. I think coming off the Avengers stuff as well, and I'm not a Marvel or I don't care about any of this stuff. Like I think Thor Ragnarok and the first Guardians movie are the only ones that I actually enjoyed out of any of this stuff. I don't care for the characters. I don't read comic books. I'm sorry, I just don't mind. But I think that, like Kyle said, I think the characterization in this is super well done. Like I was on the side of Star-Lord almost immediately. I think Drax is hilarious. Like I'm constantly laughing at the back and forth between him and Gamora. To your point about like them saying stuff, like at one stage I accidentally fired my gun in a random place where there was nothing ever to shoot, and they all started giving me shit for firing my gun.
I
like,
love that.
What are you shooting at? like stuff like that. And I think the pacing of it is really good. Like it doesn't. The combat definitely takes like those 3 or 4 or 5 chapters to sort of like warm up to, the rock, paper, scissors of what's going on, and like managing the crew, which is good. Like your character is as much a, you're managing the other 4 as you are doing stuff yourself. It's not like you have 1,000,001 abilities as Star-Lord. You have your guns and they kind of adapt a little bit.
Yeah.
But then like it's not too much combat, and then it's a bit of story and a bit of walk and talk, a bit of nuzzling, as you said.
Yeah.
Like puzzles. I think the thing that like keeps me coming back, and like Kyle, this has been a game that in a season in which I am more than happy to say I will come back to you later, this is one that I keep going back to, is there's just, it really seems to be fucking trying. Like all the environments keep getting weird. The enemies are weird, like jelly cubes.
Yeah.
And, boss fights. They do a good job of layering in all the characters early in the game. You start off with just you and one, and then they bring them in one by one. And yeah, like no one part seems to be overstaying its welcome, and that's why I think, but I do think this is one of those games that's really hard to recommend yes or no to people, because I think if you don't vibe with the script and all that, you're not going to like it. But if you do, you probably will put up with the relatively basic Xbox 360 era gameplay that's happening.
Yeah.
There is a lot of script. So if you're not, like they constantly talk, which I like. Like, I think that's cool.
They also throw a lot of fake swear words around. Like they use the word flark and flarkin constantly. Like you really just got to brace for impact on that. But it's not like it's I don't know, maybe some people are annoyed, Danny. I don't know, maybe you have a better read of where other people are at, but like it's not like it's Immortals or something where there's a lot of dialogue and the jokes are hit and miss. Like this, it's either like pretty neutral or something that's actually pretty funny that they squeezed in there.
I think it's just like comedy is one of those things where if people don't like a certain comedy, they kind of hate it.
Right.
It's not like, it's like the way people think about The Big Bang Theory, right? You either have watched that thing for 8 seasons long, or you think it's the worst thing to ever go on television. And so I think that's the problem with some like, and this is a very like comedic upfront kind of story, but it does have a surprising amount of heart to it. Like I am very aware of how much I piss off Rocket when I ask him to do anything that involves him being an animal or small.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it's like
I really genuinely feel bad. Like every time Star-Lord is like, "Come on, Rocket," I feel it. I'm like, Rocket, like work with me here, man. Come on.
Because like when Drax was throwing him,
team.
like that whole Drax, like I was like, oh, this is like workplace harassment. It's like, this is mean. Like I don't want to do that to him, but it would have been so much easier to have to throw him. There's a whole thing you can throw him across a chasm or tell Drax to calm down, and then instead you have to find another way around. And like I've seen it play out both ways, and there's a bit to do to not throw him. You know what I mean? So
interesting.
I think it's funny how, there are those choices, and a lot of those choices in the dialogues thing are probably pretty soft, but like I really liked some of that. Like the bit with the child in the space station and their mom, I think that was so, the bit where you're kind of like, you can help out the mom, help out the kid, or kind of stay quiet. I thought that was super well done.
Yeah, and like that section too, it felt so much more like Uncharted than I was expecting, especially in the first couple hours of this game. It's still a lot of Star-Lord sliding down an enclosure going, no. It's like, oh, there's actually like there's quick time events, everybody. Like that's kind of that old school nature, but still like.
The comment in Mass Effect earlier, that might have been the biggest Mass Effect moment of all time, because they were stuck in an elevator for 20 minutes talking to each other.
That's a good point. That's a very solid point. Yeah. But yeah, it's so weird to think of like the negative note this game got out on, and like how much of it was a lot of people were watching Square Enix's E3 press conference, and like the demo that they gave at that press conference was maybe 5 minutes too long, and that can sour everybody, combined with the fact that like they kind of look like the MCU characters, but not quite, and they sound different. Or it's like, I'm totally with you, Danny. I think the environments and the enemies so far are so creative and so beautiful and so weird and out there that it's like, we can't overlook the fact that like we've seen 2 movies with these characters before, and they kind of are a little bit off from that. Like, overlook that. There's a lot of amazing stuff happening here.
I'm interested in Kyle, does it, because you're further ahead than us, does it keep being that varied, or does it start to like settle into a pattern?
No, it stays pretty varied. I will say the enemies are a little less varied, but like I don't think it's a spoiler to say I'm in nowhere right now, which was in the first film.
Yeah.
And like I'm constantly moving around. Like you're in different environments all the time. It never really seems to open up as near as I can tell. but that's okay. Like, I kind of like being on the story track, you know? Like, I don't
Very Mass
really...
Effect 1,
I like exploring the ship. Like, it's nice to walk around the ship, but, like, I don't really want to explore these environments. I more want to get into the action and hear the dialogue is, like, my main sort of focus for wanting to play.
And the ship stuff I quite like because as well, they kind of... That's optional to an extent as well, right? They leave you there, and if you want to talk to people and interact and explore and have more conversations, like sometimes there's one or two things you have to do maybe, but they kind of allow you to engage with the characters a bit more there, but it's not required viewing, which I thought was smart.
I mean, that's the thing that I want from licensed games in general, is like just the opportunity to exist in a familiar space. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like being able to walk around the ship. And like sort of, it's like, oh, I know I know a version of these characters, I know a version of this ship. It's cool to kind of just walk around and explore and constantly close the refrigerator door for some reason. I keep waiting for an achievement to pop for doing that.
It was like when
even in one of the backflashes, you can do it in your home and on Earth. You can the refrigerator doors open.
Who loves to? Yeah, the best thing about exploring worlds is opening fridges. It reminds me of the like Star Trek Elite Force when you finally got on the bridge. It was just like,
right.
Yeah, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, it does. I have no attachment to the subject matter, and I, you know, as an outsider, I am also enjoying that space. I also think like I don't think there's a weak character in it. I think Star-Lord is like kind of plays the role of a bit of a doofus, which is probably handy, but like I really like Gamora's characterization. I think Drax is absolutely brilliant, and Rocket, I couldn't even tell you the difference between the two, and then Groot is Groot.
right You get the idea. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the what are they called, huddles in the combat. It's kind of like a limit break thing. It's the one thing in the game that's the most jarring. I've only done it like 2 or 3 times, but it's like, what is this? So it's kind of like the limit break, but everybody just comes up and literally does a big huddle, and then they say stuff, and then it's like a dialogue choice where you have to like basically just confirm that you were listening to what they were saying, because they say like, we're here to have fun. This is a fun fight, isn't it? And then you choose, yes, this fight is fun. And then 80s songs blast out, and then you fight the rest of the fight with the 80s track. It's just like this really
you also have like you have like technical boosts and stuff like that if you're doing more damage.
It's really odd.
It is odd. But I don't know. I don't dislike it. I will say sometimes I'm like, do I want to activate that to engage this cutscene? I kind of want to just keep fighting.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, I guess that's the big thing we haven't mentioned is, thanks to James Gunn now, you can't have Guardians of the Galaxy without 80s music, and holy God, it's like they just have like an 80s radio station playing in the background the entire time during the
show. It literally does.
It's crazy.
Sorry.
And that's the thing. Yeah, it's like, I guess even during certain moments though, it's like, okay, we'll have Tainted Love just quietly playing in the background of this scene. Like, I would love to know their budget for just licensing these songs, because it's not even like, it's not a mixtape. It is a mixed iPod at this point, I guess, which is where they go in the films. But it is absurd how much music they cram into here. But hey, it's a bunch of 80s nostalgia.
I like the soundtrack.
Yeah, it's fun.
I don't know if you guys felt the same thing. In the very beginning of the game, you're kind of a flashback. You're a young Star-Lord, and you're in his bedroom, which is like a cool way to start. Like, I want to look around his room and see what's in here. And there's like, it's all fictional stuff, fictional bands, fictional movies, except for the Tron poster and the Chewbacca action figure.
Yes.
It's a little jarring to be like, okay, well, they got the Disney thumbs up for those 2 things, but everything else they had to make up.
Although they also have Pac-Man later on in the sequence, so it's some cross-publisher licensing here.
Yeah, it's good. I liked all that stuff. It's heartwarming. It's, you know, the type of... I often wonder if you have kids, does it change all that stuff as well? I watched Lamb last night, and I feel like if I watched that without having a kid, I would have had a different, you know, reaction to it. But like all those moments with the kids, like I said, in the elevator, that stuff is like, it sounded like it worked for everyone. So like, it's that type of feeling, you know. I want to know where the characters are going. Like, they've set a really good baseline for like their interactions, and I want to see not just the Guardians, how they get on. Like, I want to see all these other characters we keep bumping into.
Yeah, I wonder how much of it is, you know, who knows how long they've been working on this thing exactly, but it's Eidos Montreal, which is bizarre to be like, oh, the Thief reboot team and the Deus Ex team are moving on to this. But they were a big supporter in development of Avengers. And so it's like, it seems very based on that tech. So it's interesting to think of like that team kind of honing their tech chops, understanding the tools with that, and now moving on to this completely single player game. But Kyle, I'd imagine you're still gaga over the fact that this is a single player experience.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I am totally like, this is what I want from Marvel continuing forward. I don't care about the Avengers sort of model. I don't want to play games like that.
Yeah.
But this I love. Yeah, this I'll take.
There it is, everybody. Guardians of the Galaxy available on everything, including Switch. The big cloud version if you're nasty. But hey, Danny,
For all you filthy motherfuckers out there.
With good Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Danny, thank you for joining us, man. We appreciate it.
Absolute pleasure. Talk to you for Age of Empires 5 in 20 years.
Absolutely. If people love you and they want more of you, where should they go to consume your soul?
Oh my God. Just go to youtube.com/noclipvideo. Check out, we just did a round of documentaries on 2 2021 indie games. So if you want to check out design retrospectives, so to speak, on Death's Door and Chivalry 2, check out the YouTube channel and support us on Patreon if you're into that type of thing, which something tells me, if you're listening to this, you've probably dabbled.
That's true. Danny, you're welcome back whenever you want, man. Sorry for keeping you here for so long.
Absolute pleasure. I gotta go see Denis Villeneuve's fucking the Heo controls the box office controls Dune. See you later.
Enjoy. Okay, give us one clap to clap out, dude. You got to do it. All right, sweet. Danny, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks, guys. Have a good day. I'm gonna go see a man with
nice meeting you.
Spice melange.
All right, enjoy, dude. Take care. Let me get an audio clap. And one more audio clap. Well, we kept Danny long, but now we're perfectly in time for when we said we are going to call Sarah, so that's crazy how it works.
Nice.
Nice, dude.
So I got to play Guardians of the Galaxy now?
I think you might.
Yeah,
I think you might.
Pretty good.
I've really been enjoying it. Let's see. Late Gang. Oh, hi.
There was a sequence where it's very brief where Star-Lord's by himself. And I just sort of absentmindedly pulled the trigger because I was walking down a hallway. It was like an area with no enemies or anything. Yeah. And he put up his fingers and started making like pew pew sound effects every time I pulled the trigger.
Oh, that's fun.
That was funny. It's like, no one's talking to him, so they got to have him say something to somebody.
Yeah. She's here. Welcome, Sarah.
Hello.
Let's see. I'll readjust this camera. Yeah. Thank God Danny swears like a sailor. People in Backstage Past are commenting on me writing down every time code, but I think it's a fun challenge for editing. Let's see. Where was Jeffem? Okay, Jeffem was over here, and then you were over here. Sarah, that seems like a cool jacket.
Thank you. It is. It's got a sad anime girl on the back.
Oh, that makes it cool.
Is it a specific sad anime girl?
No, it's just a generic sad anime girl.
Just
That's sweet.
Oh, it actually says sad girls. Okay.
Sad Girls Club. It's nice I finally get to break out all the stuff that I couldn't wear in Los Angeles because it was never like cold enough.
That's good.
So I have a whole like treasure trove of jackets that I can finally pull out.
All right. Just so you know where we're at, Sarah, time and place wise, it's October 27th, and you're in Minnesota. No, we're we're just coming up on plugs and not plugs. What are they called? Ad reads, I guess.
Okay.
Basically, we haven't done the ads, is what I'm trying to tell you. So you just want to clap in whenever you're ready?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Clap.
Sarah Podzorski, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Sarah, you're here just in time because I've been dying to tell you about something.
Yeah.
You know, like that thing you use every day, the computer, and like how there's that box on the top that's typically white and you can like type stuff in there? Like the URL bar?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you know it?
Yeah,
okay, great. Jeffem, seriously, listen up, dude. It turns out we exist only because people go to that and then they type in www.patreon.com/MinnMax with 2 N's. Can you believe it? Isn't that wild? I don't know.
We believe it. Sorry. We're not in awe. We know how this process works.
Yeah, not in awe, nodding off. Hey, look at this, though. We exist because of people like Timmy D. Timmy D getting biz on the crops, right, Kyle? Anyways, Timmy D supports us with the Synced Up podcast and says, hello, MinnMax fans. Last
Don't let
Saturday.
the beat drop, Hanson. Don't let the beat drop.
Thank you. Last November, the Synced Up podcast supported Ben and the cohorts. Oh, hang on. I need the music. Supported the cohorts, and it went so well we decided to do it again. We received a large outpouring of love from everyone here and even made some lifelong friends too. Well, we still have a video game show, the Synced Up podcast. We also started a new show a few months ago, aptly named the Synced Up Filmcast. In this show, we focus mainly on watching, reviewing, and ranking different movie franchises. We also recap the news and react to new trailers from the week too. If any of this sounds good, consider going on over to youtube.com/syncedupodcast or search Synced Up Filmcast in your favorite podcasting service and look for the red and white logo. We hope to see you there. Also, thank you to the fine folks at Fixture Gaming. They want everybody to know about the Fixture S1, which was a clip that you put onto your Nintendo Switch Pro controller. Then you actually slide the Switch screen on there so you can play with the best controller on the go. There's a link in the description if you want to go check it out on Amazon. It is $35. There's also the carrying case bundle. And because they're very generous over there at Fixture Gaming, they have been giving away custom MinnMax Fixture S1s. You can win one by following us on Twitter. We have a giveaway going all the time, so check us out on Twitter, everybody, for the big Fixture S1 giveaway. We are MinnMax Show on Twitter. Also, Kyle, you're going to be very excited about this one, because we also have a new item from I Am 8-Bit, our dear friends at I Am 8-Bit. They want everybody to know that they have in their store the one and only thing that's not popping up right now, and I don't know why. There it is. The Hyperlight Drifter 4 vinyl soundtrack, Kyle. Have you seen this vinyl soundtrack?
No, but I adore that soundtrack. I actually bought it digitally when the game came out originally.
Oh,
That's
awesome.
how much I love it.
You should really check this out, though. It is fantastic. The music is by Disaster Piece. The art is by Heart Machine and Drew Wise. It also includes the full digital soundtrack. You can get it in I'm 8-Bit's wonderful online store, where everything in that store under $100 is 10% off if you use our super secret promo code SCAREDSTUPID. No space. Scared Stupid. No space. You get 10% off everything in I'm 8-Bit's wonderful online store, and you can help support them because they support us in a big way, and they're very generous with the community in a big way, because every single week they give out a prize to the MinnMax community. Whoever submits the greatest question of the week over on Patreon. So whoever submits the greatest question will win a prize, and you can submit a question if you support us on Patreon at the $2 tier. Are you all ready to go?
Ready.
Yes.
Jeffem, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Jeffem, I feel like you should read all these questions because you've been quiet for so long.
Well, you guys talked about Age of Empires for a long time.
Yeah, that is true. I'm sorry. You missed it, sir. It was a really good time. We had Daniel Dwyer on. It was a hoot. Anyways, hey, Sean Mason jumps in on Patreon with this question and says, hey, CLCs, it's the final episode before my favorite holiday of the year, Halloween. With that said, I've been hankering to play a few spooky titles. Look, some would call this a basic question. We wouldn't, because we're very nice. But my question is, what are some of your favorite spooky-themed games not named Resident Evil?
Does spooky theme just mean horror game?
I think he's overwriting the question. Yeah. Favorite horror game, Sarah, what do you got?
This is a hard one. Like, I did spend all of October only playing horror games.
Yeah.
So I do consider myself kind of, maybe a minor expert in this category.
Naturally.
And it really depends on what scares you the most. There's like different types of, horror and different types of games. I'm still a big fan of all the Amnesia games. I really liked Amnesia Rebirth, but it was too scary for me.
Really? That was your limit?
I could not get through it, and they had to go back in and patch it to make it less scary because people weren't making it through. But then you have like the games that maybe aren't as scary, but they're stressful. So I consider Resident Evil stressful.
Right.
It's so stressful. So I guess it just depends. I really liked this little game called Devotion. I played that. That was like a shorter game.
That's the one that was nuked from stores because it had like
I had to
some
get
reference...
it off the developer's website.
Okay, that's the best place to get it. And that's like a first-person what, PT
It's a
style
first
thing or something?
person, yeah, it's very like PT style, very sort of like you walk through, you complete minor puzzles, there's some spooks,
Okay.
there's some fears. Soma always has a great place in my heart, but that's a much longer game.
Yeah. What you just finished Until Dawn, streaming that on MinnMax
Yeah, I
Twitch
finished
channel.
Until Dawn.
How was that?
It's good, but it's not as easy to access because you have to have a PlayStation. There's no way to play it on PC.
Really?
Yeah, I had to get it on PlayStation. I literally had to get like a PS Now subscription so I could play Until Dawn.
Oh, that's a pain in the ass.
But it's good. It is really, really good. It's a good horror game. Another like very story-driven one. No puzzles. It depends. Like, do you like puzzles in your horror games? We could debate this all evening. You know, do you need puzzles? Do you not like puzzles? Do you prefer just like ambient horror?
Yeah. Jeff, are you a big horror person?
You just totally cut off Kyle, but
Good.
yeah, I do like. I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, so I enjoy it sometimes. My favorite is still probably Silent Hill 2, because I think I also really enjoyed the story in that one. And Dead Space, the original Dead Space, was too scary for me to actually finish. I never finished that one.
Is that true?
It was just like, I had such dread playing that game. I would play it for like, I was playing it consecutively like night after night, but I'd play like 5 minutes and get through like one room and be like, yeah, okay, I accomplished a lot. I feel that's a good stopping point for tonight, because it's just like, I think it's the atmosphere that gets to me most. And like, I'm such a sucker for jump scares all the time, and that game was especially bad about it, because they're constantly jumping out behind you and doing all kinds of cheap things. And so it just it gets to the point where they don't even actually need to do the actual jump scare. If they've established that it could happen,
and it can,
then it's like the atmosphere will just freak me out, and I become crippled with fear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a big fat baby boy when it comes to scary games. But like, we just did the deepest dive in Dead Space, and I played through it for the first time. I was shocked how not scared I was. And I think it's totally just that atmosphere thing.
Well, weren't you also playing in the middle of the day with like all your windows open and like an AirPod in, listening to like circus music or something? I don't know. That might make
I don't know why that's relevant, Kyle, but yeah. But no, I think it's just also just like the atmosphere. You're totally right, where it's like, I know I'm never going to be stuck on a ship with a bunch of bloody aliens. Like, yeah, there's a jump scare that can happen, compared to something like Fatal Frame 2, where it's just, hey, you're in the woods, you're in some house, and there's a ghost there.
Ghosts are going to get you?
Absolutely. Ghosts are going to get everybody.
More plausible?
Absolutely. You think ghosts are less plausible than Dead Space? Just,
yeah,
being point, in a house and suddenly some ghost walks down the stairs, you have to take a picture of it. There's like a 50% chance that's happening to me in my life. So Fatal Frame 2 is just unplayable. Sorry, Kyle. Did you have thoughts before Kyle or Jeff rudely cut you off?
I was just curious if the Dark Pictures games are on Steam, or are those only on console?
They're on Steam.
I think the newer ones are.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the newer ones are.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's Until Dawn was like that
Dead
Sony
Space
published
2
thing.
is still EA's best game, period. So that's an important one to play.
There it is. Aaron Yu writes in and asks very specifically, hey, Grand Theft Auto 3 just celebrated its 20th anniversary on October 22nd. This might be a big question, but has there been a more impactful game in the game industry in the last 20 years than GTA 3? Because he's not sure that there has.
I feel like you could make a long list of games in the last 20 years that have been impactful. There's like,
but as impactful as GTA 3, I don't think so.
I think you're looking in like the wrong direction with this, because like I'm looking at like cultural things. So like culturally, what Fortnite did for Battle Royale was a big thing.
Yeah.
And like esports in general. And then I look at like Minecraft and how Minecraft's like grown and evolved. So I don't know. I think it just depends on how you're looking at it, because there's a lot of games that have come out and like completely changed the narrative.
Well, like the thing about like Minecraft, as huge as it is, hasn't really influenced a lot of other games. Ultimately.
I don't know. I think Minecraft, you could make a case, if you want to be a real historian about this stuff, about Minecraft bringing up even just the survival genre in a big way. And if that's like a big explosion of popularity of survival, which obviously there's the crafting, there's the building that's also huge, but survival, and then you track that survival aspect. You could make a case that like, okay, does that filter into Arma design in any way, which then filters into PUBG, which then filters into Fortnite? Like you could trace a lot of things back to Minecraft if you want to be a maniac about it. I think there's a chance Minecraft
I don't know.
is up there.
I still think a lot of people played GTA 3 and totally scrapped projects and were like, whatever we do next has to follow this mold. Like it has to be open world or we're going to be irrelevant. And I don't think that PUBG or Minecraft have had similar reactions from developers where it's like, if we don't incorporate elements of Minecraft into our game, I think we're just might as well give up.
I think that's, I mean, I don't know about give up. We should all just pretend.
I'm talking in a hyperbolic
I think that's exactly what happened at Epic after they were done working on Gears of War for a bit, or I guess it was kind of during Judgment's development of that period of, you look at the success of Minecraft, we need to do something like that. And then that's where Fortnite came from. Like it's a pretty direct line. So you could say that the biggest game in the world now came from...
That gets so tricky, though, because it's like the element of Fortnite that they were like so borrowed from Minecraft is not the thing that made it successful.
Yeah, you mean the part that they completely abandoned in order to make it popular?
Foundation's foundation, well, everybody. I don't know.
But that one just gets messy, but I think you make a good point, Hanson, and Sarah, too, yeah.
Yeah, I have sowed the seeds of chaos, and now you may fight amongst yourselves for my entertainment.
Yeah.
And if you're talking culturally, I don't know how you beat Fortnite, because that feels like that just exploded so far out of just like our video game realm and went into other worlds where you have like the biggest, music artists doing concerts now in Fortnite and shit. I can't even comprehend what's going on.
Right.
But in terms of games that influenced other games that came out, I'd have a hard time beating Grand Theft Auto 3 too for that, because that's not only like all 3D open world games, but so much of open world game design in terms of like how you get missions and the types of missions that you're doing and all of that stuff really spawned from GTA 3 as well.
Yeah. There's a part of me that wants to say The Sims being influential, but that was also, 99? Or that's 2000. I'm sorry. So not quite in that 20-year window. But do you guys have thoughts on the remastered stuff for GTA? Do you see that trailer? Any gut reactions?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think I'm gonna try to beat Vice City. I never beat Vice City, so,
Kyle,
and I want to play it on Switch.
I kind of want to beat Vice City too. I saw that. It's like, God, I just played that one at a friend's house, and I feel like I need to actually spend some time with it. And like, I think playing on Switch.
Played a lot of 3, played a ton of Vice City, but San Andreas was the first one I beat. And then from there I've finished them all. But yeah.
I'm just realizing now that you guys brought it up that I beat those 3 original games, and those are probably like I could probably count on one hand like the number of open world games that I've actually beaten, and I think that's 3 of them.
Wow, that's
oh really?
Ooh, hang on. I'm looking at the Backstage Pass. People watching us live. In terms of influential games last 20 years, Modern Warfare, BeatenDownBrian brings up. Aaron T says Uncharted. Far Cry 3, Aaron T. Yeah, I think Modern Warfare. There's a strong case you can make for that. Or Uncharted.
I think, you know what? Far Cry 3, I think, like, almost doesn't get quite enough credit. I think it is more influential on Breath of the Wild than we realize, I think.
Just because it was like specifically cited that they played it?
Onuma specifically mentioned it as a modern game that he had played. And I think it probably did influence him saying like, oh, let's open up Zelda like this, kind of, Yeah. But it's not, whenever anyone talks about Breath of the Wild, they don't talk about Far Cry.
But are we not considering Far Cry 3 influenced by GTA 3 to begin with?
I would, certainly, yeah.
Sarah says no.
No, I'm just... this is turning into like a Zelda timeline situation.
It's a lot.
It's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? Like, what came first?
Right. Well, in a way,
GTA 3, we've established.
Right. Brian D. Rubel says, hey, Ben and friends. What the hell? Brian, are you a cop? You have to tell us legally if you're a cop. But Brian D. Rubel asked, hey, Ben and friends, what's your favorite crime? Is it a trick? And by the way,
I was thinking about this, not necessarily a crime to commit. I don't think I have a favorite crime to commit.
Well,
But you gotta love like entertainment media about stealing from the rich, like the Ocean's 11 kind of. It's just fun to watch a plan come together and get executed of stealing from someone who won't really miss that money very much.
Kyle's a big Tower Heist fan. Yeah.
Yeah, that was gonna be stealing from the rich was gonna be my answer to like any kind of embezzlement.
Rich,
if you're stealing from someone that they like, or a corporation, and they don't even realize that you're stealing it, like you should just get the money at that point. If it takes them more than like a week to figure out that it's gone, then I say it's yours.
Then it's legal. Yeah, I like that idea. Like as an incentive, it's like, hey, you want to get rich? All right, you can, but just it's legal to steal from you.
Just
Good
cover
luck.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen Logan Lucky? Have you seen that movie?
I haven't. No.
No, that's sort of in the plot of that movie a little bit.
Okay.
Of just like, if they don't notice it's gone, it's like who cares?
Interesting.
But I had a subset to that answer of stealing from the rich, which is art forgers, because like that also takes like the legitimate skill that like forgers who make like classic paintings that are like brush for brush stroke like perfect accuracy, like they're already so talented, but there's something that I can appreciate about then also using that talent to just like make fake art that you're then going to swindle like people who already have way too much money and they're spending like, I bought this painting for $50 million because it's worth a lot, and I was just gonna like hoard it and then sell it later for even more, but it turns out it's fake. And I don't have a lot of sympathy for that to begin with. And kudos for being so talented that you could pull it off.
Yeah. They're like the Blue Point Games of their field, these art forgers. If you really think about it, man. Hey, how do you feel about jaywalking? Is everyone just fully on board?
With jaywalking?
Yeah. Does anybody hesitate at any point about jaywalking?
Wait, being Tonight Show host Jay Leno and going onto the street and asking people questions?
The greatest crime of all. Oh, yeah. That's why he's not on TV anymore, man. He's hauled off in chains. I don't know. I got up my head with jaywalking because now Sony PR person, traveling a lot with him, Aram Jabari, he had this rule that he would not jaywalk in any city that wasn't his home city. So we'd be like anywhere in the United States or like around the world, and he would just refuse to cross the street. It's like, there are no cars. He's like, I will not do it. I don't know what the police are like here. I refuse to do it. And it really got me out of my head. Like, should I be more worried about jaywalking than I am? Or I'm just a game on situation, especially as a biker. I know this is dangerous, but like I'm not stopping for many things when I'm on that bike. It's fine.
Is that your favorite crime?
Ooh, I guess it would be.
Jaywalking?
Jaywalking on a bike is probably my favorite crime, yeah. Let's see. Are we crimed out? Everybody's hit their crime quota?
Yeah. I just want to say that I am not a heist person. I feel like heists are my least favorite things.
To watch or to do?
Least. I do not like heist genres. I don't like it. I feel like they hype me up on this plan. You spend half the time focusing on the plan, and then something goes wrong, but that was also part of the plan. But then something actually goes wrong, and like, I'm sorry, but like, we didn't execute the plan that we all agreed on, and you also didn't give me all the information. Personally, that hurts my feelings.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And I'm not entertained.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Ben Shifley asks, what is a company that has lost your business forever? That's brutal.
I thought about this, and I was like, are there any companies that I just absolutely won't buy anything from? And I think this is a weird one, but I don't think I'll ever back anything on Kickstarter again.
Oh, weird.
What was the last thing you backed?
It was, what is it called? It was a movie from, this is going to drive me crazy. A stop animated movie. It was produced by Dan Harmon. It was written by Charlie Kaufman.
Oh, weird.
I cannot remember what it was called, but it really turned me off from Kickstarter because I liked all those people. I was like, this sounds amazing. I want to watch this movie. Here's $20. I would like to see this movie, please. And then it went through like all this, like they sold the rights, all these different things. It ended up going to theaters. It took the fact that I spent money to like help finance that film ended up making it take longer for me to actually see it. And like from that point on, I'm like, I'm good. I don't think I want to back anything on Kickstarter. I think some amazing projects have come from Kickstarter. I think it's like done a lot of great things, but personally as a consumer, like I've only kind of been burned by it in that small way, and it was enough to make me go like, if there's a project I see on Kickstarter that I'm excited about, I will wait till it exists and I'll just buy it outright.
And I feel like people have gotten a lot smarter with Kickstarter too, of like basically being at the 1 yard line before they launch their Kickstarter, but like, all right, we just need this extra boost of funding. No more of this like, hey, we're in the blue sky phase. We want to make a video game. Help fund our MMO. We're thinking up some cool ideas. It's like there's no universe where that works well, unless Double Fine Adventure, where you're chronicling everything. But plenty of game ones have gone down the tubes. I don't know, Jeff, you got one?
By the way, the movie I'm talking about is called Anomalisa. That's what it's called.
Oh, I saw that in the theaters. That has like a stop motion sex scene in it.
You saw it on Kyle's dime.
Probably,
man, I paid for that, and then I had to wait to see it.
That's right. I was going to
guess
guess
before me.
Yeah, that's weird. Anyways, Jeff, you got a company?
Kyle, that actually reminded me that there was a board game Kickstarter that today was the last day and I forgot about it, but now you reminded me. I actually was gonna back that one, so thank you.
He's gonna jump in.
You're welcome.
But my answer was Hobby Lobby. And they went through all of like the homophobic stuff and whatever, which was really enough to just not go there ever. But then I saw an article that they've stolen like artifacts, like tens of thousands of artifacts that they bought basically illegally and smuggled into the country.
What?
That they've now like they've been in the process of giving them all back at this point and saying like, oh, we didn't know what they were doing, but they super knew what they were doing. There was a big expose on it.
They have like a museum in like Washington, D.C. where they have all of these artifacts that they've illegally brought into the country and stolen.
What?
It's like a weird Bible museum that's also like a tax write-off because they buy all these things and then they donate them to their own museum. It's like this huge racket. But they said that they were smuggling them all into the country and they were bringing them through customs, and it was like all of these old like clay tablets and papyrus and stuff, like writings and all these things that they bought from like black markets, but they had listed them in the customs as like sample tiles because they were made out of clay and like they were going to Hobby Lobby. So it was a whole big thing. I was like, hey, I didn't like this company to begin with, but this is just ridiculous.
Yeah. On a similar note, what is that pink bag behind you, Jeff?
It's a Puma bag.
We started recording and then I saw that was back there, and this is like our guest bedroom, and my wife's sister has been over helping us babysit with, and I didn't realize she had that back there.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't know if it was like a surprise for later, like you get a load of this was just a bunch of dirty diapers in a bag. Yeah. Taylor C submits a question on Patreon and says, I've never considered myself to be overly good at video games. I completed Last of Us Part 2 on hard mode, something I would not normally do, and I've noticed that my skills in third-person action games have significantly improved. I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm impressed with how well I'm adapting to the game and flowing through encounters. Congratulations, Taylor. What game got you good at games, and when did you know you were good at a certain type of game? I think I'm still waiting for that day.
That's a loaded question, yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't Metroid Dread. Somehow I think that made me worse at games in some ways. I don't know. Has anyone got a good one for this? The game that made you good at games?
The game that was like sink or swim for me personally was playing Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah.
So any kind of like competitive shooter, especially when it comes to that game, because if you get shot in the head, you're down, you're out, you can't come back. There is no like revive.
Right.
Once you're out, and you can die pretty immediately, because it is very accurate where it's like, if you get shot in the head, you will probably die. So a lot of that for playing with my friends was just me, try to shoot the other person's head before they shoot you.
Right.
And also don't put yourself into situations where somebody could easily shoot your head. And they can shoot through walls in that game too. There's a lot of like physics-based stuff. So it's like, what am I standing next to? If someone, where are my angles? Where are my sight lines? Where are my corners? If you're aiming down sights, make sure you're aiming at like a headline. If a head's gonna pop around that corner, make sure that's where you're aiming. Like it taught me a lot.
And you like carry forward to other games now, even when you're playing like
because
Resident Evil 8 or something?
Well, I mean, that's like using a controller, but it definitely taught me how to better aim and click heads.
That's interesting.
And also just better competitive gameplay.
Right.
Like, don't do stupid. Like, don't do stupid stuff. Don't set yourself up for failure. Like, that's not gonna help anybody.
Yeah.
I think Click Heads would be a really good name for like an indie online shooter. So much.
That is a good one. That is good. Is anybody else good at games?
No.
I think we all have this qualifier of, not really good at games, but like I do have a fun memory of playing Mega Man X5 with a group of friends, and we were all being stuck on a boss and passing the controller. And I was the one that finally beat the boss after like a really long time. And I had this moment where I was like, I think I'm pretty good at these Mega Man X games. So.
Congratulations.
I did it.
Do you want me to tell that story at your funeral, Kyle?
Yeah. Please.
Okay. Thank you. I will.
I think old
Word for
OG
word.
Halo for me was probably because that back then I also liked Halo enough to try and play on the harder difficulty levels, which really made you think about combat a lot more. And the combat was just fun enough to actually replay that game way too much.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we played with the community and I actually did pretty well.
That is true.
So those skills stuck around.
There we go. Tanner Methvin writes in and says, "Hey, MinnMax crew, last week on Jeopardy, The Legend of Zelda was one of the answers, and I was surprised someone got it right, since in my recollection, the contestants didn't often know video game answers. I'd like to see if you have more faith in them than I do with the game called Did They Get It? I'll give you a Jeopardy clue, and you say if they got it or they don't got it. Love the show," says Tanner. Thank you, Tanner. All right, $800 clue. With flowing white hair, Geralt of Rivia is a monster slayer in this video game series based on the stories of Andrzej Sapkowski.
They got that
exactly
one.
how. I think because The Witcher is beyond
also a book
just video
and
games at this
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
This is
The
after the
Netflix show's
Netflix
very
show came
popular.
out or before the Netflix show
Unclear.
came out? Okay.
So they got it.
They
Nobody,
got it?
nobody even guessed it.
Can I get
apparently.
like the average age of a contestant on this particular Jeopardy game? Because I feel like
Yeah. Tanner's not giving us all the data we need.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's say it's averaging 49. What do you think is the average Jeopardy contestant age? Let's go with that.
I feel like there's some younger people on
Yeah, I
Jeopardy
don't think
nowadays.
Maybe.
That old.
Okay. $1,000 clue here. Is there a better way to say that? I don't know. This for 1,000. In 2020, it was time to find some, quote, new horizons and build your own island paradise with this Nintendo Switch game.
I think they got that one.
Again, I want to just say yes because it was in the news. Everyone was like, this is what you can play when you're suffering through your pandemic.
I'll say no, just because if they couldn't get Witcher,
They did not get it.
What?
Which host Ken Jennings noted was going to make his kids mad, apparently. All right, $1,600 prompt. Referring to a false promise, the cake is a lie became a famous meme that sprang from this Valve game.
there's no way they got that.
If they got this one and not the other two, I'm just giving up on humanity.
Blip, blip.
That's
Guy
it. It's
got
over.
it. And this Tanner says that the dude rang in quick with Portal. That is amazing. $800. Appropriately, the highest lance won in this classic game. Less appropriately, there were flying ostriches.
I don't even know that.
No shame.
It's Joust, but I think they got it because that's really old.
Yep,
that's
they
an
did
old
it.
game.
They did it. Also, Jesus, Tanner, you're amazing. He also has this. On another episode for $800, in the classic video game Joust, contestants were placed upon these birds. They didn't get that one, but I love the idea that Joust is coming up repeatedly
Yeah,
on
what is
Jeopardy.
this Joust game?
Frickin' Joustpardy. Oh, do you know Balloon
play
Fight,
Joust?
Sarah?
Yeah.
It's just Balloon Fight is 100% ripoff of Joust.
Oh.
So Balloon Fight rules,
I mean-
and therefore Joust rules.
Well, Black Queen, right? Or is that the
Killer-
name of that
Killer
game?
Queen?
That Killer Queen.
Yeah.
I feel like Killer Queen has a lot of Joust DNA in there.
Yep, for sure.
Sarah's she's taking our word for it.
It's
It's
really
like,
good.
what is this? You're like ostriches in the sky.
Okay, Kyle.
What was it? That would probably be what, like 82 or 83? That's like pre-Mario, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
Oh, so it's like really okay.
Don't worry though, Sarah. They did announce they were making it into a movie a while ago, so you'll understand it
and
fully.
And I guess, is it also a heist movie too? With
Yep,
the ostriches?
they're stealing the ostrich eggs. You got it. You got it. Colin Birch writes in and says, just a late comment about the All-Star Trivia Tower. Marcus Stewart from Game Informer's genuine surprise and joy at winning legitimately made my week last week. That is all. Thank you. Thank you, Colin. Sorry for spoiling Trivia Tower All-Stars. But yeah, I made a clip of it, so I rewatched it 1,000 times. Like, I think Marcus is near tears when he won that thing. Like, it's really sweet to watch.
I'm featuring a Jeopardy contestant, by the way.
That's true. Submit, yeah, from Polygon. That's right.
By the way,
and I called it.
I would have got. I would have.
Remember, you asked who I thought was going to win.
Shut up, Kyle. Yes, Jeff. you said Marcus.
I said Marcus.
I think I was saying Marcus too. Go back and check.
And
the
then
tape.
when he won, I was careful not to actually call that out because I didn't want to spoil it for anyone.
Interesting. Yeah, go back and listen to MinnMax Council from a couple weeks ago, our Patreon exclusive podcast where we had that. Kyle, did you make your point?
No, I was just saying I would have gotten the Fable music one. I was pulling out my hair that it took so long for everyone to get.
I was so worried that I didn't pull the right song because I'm like, the fact that no one's understanding the Fable theme. Okay, Martin Glowacki writes in and says, hey, cohorts, I'll go with a softball question with this one. Okay, that's fine. We can handle a fastball. Everybody, write in your fastball questions. We'll take anything.
No.
Sarah, we've got them all. Don't worry. It's
One of the questions was like, what's our act of revenge? What acts of revenge have we committed? And it definitely feels like people are setting us up for failure.
Yeah, don't answer
I
that.
saw that question and I was like, is this entrapment?
Yeah, look, it's a fastball. You don't got to swing at every fastball. Sometimes you can see a question like...
I'm literally dodging out of the way, like, in fear.
Anyways, Martin says, with Age of Empires 4 releasing... Jeff, have you heard of Age of Empires 4? Anyways, what empire or civilization throughout history fascinates or interests you the most? For myself, the Mayan Empire always resonated with me. It's because you're the next successor. You're the rightful heir to the Mayan Empire, Martin. Anyways, does anybody else have a civ or empire that they like? The good ones?
I'm biased. I'm biased to Egypt because my aunt's an Egyptologist.
What?
So I'm like heavily... Everybody in my family is much cooler than me.
Okay, honestly.
My aunt's like been to Egypt. She's like unearthed mummies. She's got books.
She's written books or she just owns books?
Yeah, she's written books. Like
Okay.
she's like authored books.
Honestly, that is the coolest thing. Is she a cool person too? She's not listening to this. Okay.
I mean, she's an Egyptologist, so you know.
If you were at a dinner party and everyone's talking about their jobs, I think Egyptologist, I think that's maybe #1 profession. Honestly, I would take Egyptologist over astronaut. It's a really...
I mean, there's a lot to say.
It's a cool move.
What about like famous film director?
Do they have to say famous? I think that's a little blowhardy if they're adding
No,
that
I mean,
on.
it's like if Steven Spielberg were sitting at that table.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's not going to say, I'm famous film director Steven Spielberg. He's going to say, I make movies.
Hey, Kyle. One time, I'm still confused about this story. I had an ex-girlfriend. Once, everybody. But she told a story about how she was dating somebody in high school, and she went to a Thanksgiving at his house in Minnesota, and Matt Damon was there. And I'm still not convinced that it was actually Matt Damon. And like, I trust this person and I like her, but there's a part of me that's like, I think that was just somebody that looked like Matt Damon. She's like, no, literally Matt Damon was at this Thanksgiving party or Thanksgiving dinner.
I've got his Wikipedia page pulled up. I'm gonna Command F because I'm on a Mac for Minnesota to see if he has any ties to Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know if he was like dating a sibling or something.
How many people were at this event?
It was like a dinner, a Thanksgiving dinner, probably event. I don't know, like 10. I don't know, something like that.
Push Nevada. Is that a movie that they filmed in Minnesota? Does this help you at all?
Yeah, actually, that's the missing key that I was looking for.
Did you ask if it was the Matt Damon?
I did not.
Or just
I probably should
a
have.
Matt Damon.
I probably should have. I'll try and get to the bottom of this.
There you go.
Anyways, yeah, back to Civilization. I like Carthage because I like Hannibal, and I made a short film, and it is a film in high school about the Second Punic War. And it was...
Wait, so you're a famous film director?
I'm a famous film director. That's right. And it was all about Hannibal crossing the Alps with the elephants, and it had the perfect dark soundtrack. So It's really stunning work. Everyone should check it out in a local theater near you. Anybody else have thoughts on a thingy? Okay, good. Hey, Luciano Comacedo, I'm sorry for butchering your name, says, I've been playing a cool side-scroller called Flynn, Son of Crimson, and was just curious what your thoughts are on taking damage from touching an enemy. That'd be like getting hurt from petting a dog.
From like if you bump into it, or if you like run past it, or if you clip it, you'll take damage.
Right. Yeah.
See, I don't like it because whenever I don't even like grenades in video games because I'm only gonna blow myself up with that.
After all these Rainbow Six Siege skills, you're still scared of a grenade?
I don't use throwables. It's it's just a bad.
All right.
It rebounds. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong.
Yep.
But there's like porcupines. If you touch one of those, you're gonna get hurt.
Only if they're mad at you though, because normally like the quills are down. So like, what are you aggressing upon the porcupine?
Yeah, I don't know any other way to approach a porcupine other than being very aggressive. Let's see, what else we got? Hey, look at this. This person writes in and says, Jose Arroyo says, Hola, senores and senoras. Hello, thank you, Jose.
Did you take Spanish in high school? Or?
I did. It's senoras. So senorita is a younger senora? Yeah.
Don't ask me, I took French.
Oh, okay. Figures.
I took German.
Jeffem, what about you?
French.
Ooh. Talking French.
Oui. Je m'appelle
bonjour.
Jeff.
Salut.
There it is, everybody. We're launching a French podcast exclusive to Patreon. Check it out. Anyways.
This is now a bilingual podcast.
Jose says space is a big genre this year. What is your space game of the year? He's not wrong. So he rounded up Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Metroid Dread, Returnal, Guardians of the Galaxy. He says his is Returnal by far. It is, like, I noticed it with our Deepest Dives. Like, we've done a lot of sci-fi Deepest Dives this year. It's weird how it all's lined up with Dead Space and everything. Yeah.
In terms of,
Returnal.
like, you can be a sci-fi person or you can be a fantasy person. And you can be overlap, but I think you always have preferential for one.
Right.
What would you guys say you are, sci-fi or fantasy?
Sci-fi.
Sci-fi.
Yeah.
Correct.
Thought so.
It was actually the first test to becoming a cohort is you have to declare yourself a sci-fi person over a fantasy person. So I'm glad everybody passed that test. Good job, everybody.
But Returnal is my answer, certainly. Returnal is still my game of the year. I really loved Returnal.
Hey, maybe it's just because I watched it while playing it, Kyle, but did you also have weird vibes playing the Guardians of the Galaxy game of like, oh, it's a little bit like Cowboy Bebop. It's just fun to be... It's like a specific window now where we're going to be doing a lot of hanging out on a ship and bounty hunting.
Yeah, I actually just rewatched Cowboy Bebop, like, sort of. Here's my setup. I have a I have a TV in the kitchen that I watch television on while I'm doing dishes and cooking dinner, which I do a lot. That's like 90% of my time.
Yeah.
But I don't. So when I watch stuff on there, it's like 70% paying attention. I rewatched Cowboy Bebop that way recently.
Yeah.
And really holds up. Fantastic show. So good.
What do you think of that trailer?
I'm excited to watch that show. I don't hold any ill will towards that live action version. I want to see this new version, but I look at it and there's like a lot of Dutch angles, right? There's a lot of tilted cameras.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I really don't think that was a thing in the anime. I thought the shots were always pretty straight ahead. That's what I like about Cowboy Bebop is how grounded it is. I'm just generally not a fan of Dutch angles at all. Like Abrams does them a lot.
Or the
Star Wars
Dutch,
and stuff.
I've heard.
That's right. His least favorite civilization.
Not a fan.
There's one shot in the middle of Ted Lasso season 1, because that's about where I am right now watching that show, and it's just like an obnoxious Dutch angle. Yeah, I do like it. Yeah. Every once in a while it's like it's kind of veering into like a Disney Plus level of saccharine, but I'm on board for it. Like, it's a nice one to watch.
Oh, wait till I get to the Christmas episode.
Oh, really? It's gonna be a lot. All right.
Yeah.
Anyways, space is cool. Oh, and Kyle, just to follow up on that, thoughts on the Lightyear trailer, sir?
I'm for it. I don't understand all the confusion about it. It's a trailer. We don't know all the context yet.
Well, from the pitch, I was confused, and this seems to be like, okay, it doesn't make sense, everybody trying to get up in arms about like, this Toy Story spinoff doesn't make sense. When does it take place? How is it possible? Yeah. The only thing
the other thing is like someone, I don't remember who it was. I'm sorry if I'm calling you out, but they were like, you're telling me that through all 4 Toy Story movies, they never talked about Galactus. It's like, it's a story. It's not about the world. It's about this very focused relationship between a toy and a child. I don't think space travel would come up.
Also, hey, everybody, I know I don't want to be this guy because I take Toy Story more seriously than just about anybody on Earth, but it's like, everybody, they're movies. Let them do like they basically already did it with their TV show of like Buzz Lightyear of Star Command. Like it's just that again, everybody. It's not going to reframe the way that you watch Toy Story 1. It's fine.
Yeah.
And yet, yet you won't play Kingdom Hearts.
No, because
that's the Toy Story level. And yet, Ben.
Yeah, that's like saying, hey, you love chocolate cake. Now eat chocolate cake out of a toilet, Sarah. What? You don't like chocolate cake out of a toilet? What's wrong with you?
They say it might be canon, so if that chocolate cake out of the toilet was canon, you need the
They
full
shoot it out of a
experience.
cannon into the toilet.
Is that right? My God. The thing that makes me laugh, Kyle, in that Lightyear trailer is like when they reveal Buzz Lightyear's suit as like the big thing in the back half of that trailer, and it's like it's too close to the toy. It's like still like 3 buttons on the chest, where it's like so the toy was just 100% accurate to the spacesuit. That seems bizarre. But I'm looking forward.
I feel like it's like they watched that amazing scene in Interstellar where they're trying to dock the ships,
Yeah.
And they're like, let's do that Pixar style. I'm like, hell yeah.
Honestly, like some of the shots are so cool in that trailer of him going around the sun and stuff. Like it kind of reminds me of like First Man, which is a movie that I don't think gets enough credit for just like how visceral it makes flying in space. Anyways, I want to see what their toys from that film look like. Like to have like this slightly off-kilter Buzz Lightyear toys. Do you think they will release toys, Kyle, that look like a funky version of Buzz Lightyear based on the film?
Yeah.
That's going to be so weird.
Totally.
Jeff, they're making this movie called Lightyear. It's not important. Hey, David
Dobry. We're talking about space video games.
Yeah.
sorry. David Dobry writes in and says, what's the most random or obscure game you can remember from your childhood? When I was young, I remember playing Zoom Beanies because it was my mom's favorite game. What is Zoom Beanies? All right, I like this good broad one.
TSUM? Is that how they're spelling
it? No, like Zoom as in zoom.
Okay.
Zoomy zoom. Oh, that looks bizarre. Has anybody got a weird deep cut from their childhood?
I had a My Little Pony game that I played on the PC. And you would raise your pony, you would like color its mane, and you would train it how to jump. And you would raise it, and it would go from a child to like an adolescent to like from a child to a teen to an adult.
Yeah.
And then at the very end of the game, you would make it to the end, and your horse would jump over the highest jumps, and then it would like ride off to this castle in the sky. Like I shit you not. This horse like galloped into the sky to a rainbow castle, and you could never see it ever again.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it died, or it was like you trained it well enough that it could join the other My Little Ponies on the cloud in the sky. But like, is this just a metaphor for death?
Hang on, Sarah. On New Show Plus this week, you were talking about horse girls.
Yeah.
And how there's this very specific type of girl that was obsessed with horses. Were you a horse girl?
No, I wasn't a horse girl. I was a girl gamer, and a lot of it came with like horse games. So there's some overlap there, but I wouldn't say I go fully into horse girl territory.
Okay,
It comes with the girl pack of 3 CD-ROM games for girls.
Right.
That you buy as a bundle.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think of like deep cuts. I played a lot on Apple II of Muppet Adventure Chaos at the Carnival, which is just like the Muppets and a bunch of terrible bumper cars and nonsense like that. It'd be an abomination to go back to. But
I really loved this game. It was called Pocket Bomberman for the Game Boy Color. It was a single-player Bomberman game with like a campaign that I played and beat and really loved. And then it was like kind of a little bit later, I was like, oh, this is more of a multiplayer thing, huh? I guess I didn't know.
Oh, weird.
Yep. Mine was Cannondale Cup for the Super Nintendo, which was kind of an unabashed Road Rash ripoff, because I played Road Rash one time at a kiosk in like a Kmart or something when I was a kid, and was like, this is the coolest game ever made. And I wanted to see, they didn't have it for Super Nintendo, but this was like the closest thing that they had. So I spent like $60 on it back in like 91 or whatever, which is probably like $1,000 today. And it had the same formula, but it was mountain bikes, and all of the characters were just like, I don't know if they're actual like bicycle racers back then, but you could just kind of attack, and it was very crappy. But then like there was clearly a Blanca ripoff in there. It was like all normal people, but then just one green monster that you could play at. But it was not a good Road Rash ripoff.
What's it called again? I want to look it up.
Cannondale Cup?
That's a really boring name. Cup. Have they thought of Road Rash? Cannondale Cup. Oh, weird.
There it is, guys.
There it is. That's good. Deep cut. Cole Kreider says, hey, Pumpkin Spice cohorts, hello. With Halloween coming up on Sunday, what character would each of you be in a horror movie? Jock, nerd, cheerleader? Also, would you be the final girl? No, absolutely not.
I thought about this deeply after playing Until Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
Because they very much like typecast people. And I fall on a spectrum between like, I believe like final girl, but also redneck who would shoot anybody at the first slightest notice of maybe you're turning into a zombie.
Interesting.
Like, Until Dawn taught me that if I'm ever in a horror situation, there's no like we and I'm surviving. Okay? Like I will not hesitate to take lives if it like don't get stuck with me.
Okay. Okay, so you're just you're the scene from The Thing where Kurt Russell just has like the TNT and like the lighter, like, I'll blow this whole place up if anybody comes near me, so help me God. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Smart.
But also the final girl. So it's kind of like a weird, I fall in a weird Venn diagram.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. I guess I'd be nerd that dies immediately and is completely helpless. And probably there's an elaborate pants wetting scene. Something like that. If I just had to spitball. I
didn't want to say it for you, Hanson, but
right.
It's good, that you recognize that.
Okay, good.
Is there an archetype for like the person that just insists that everything is fine, like even up until the end? Like, oh no, we'll be fine. Don't worry. We are overthinking this, everyone. This is just gonna be totally fine.
It's like this is maybe a deep cut, Kyle, but I always loved like in Slaughterhouse 5 when they're like in the trains. One of my favorite bits is just somebody who's like, you think this is cold in this train? This isn't so bad. I've had worse. This is totally fine. And then the next morning he's dead. And I always think of that as like, I feel like I've been that person a couple times in my life. I was like, everything's fine. What are you talking about? And then it turns out things are not fine.
I would take myself out if I was stuck with that person.
Yeah, smart. Adam Cohen writes in and says, hey, everybody, gyroscopic control aiming, yay or nay?
Nay, boo.
I don't
like
it.
Kids that play Splatoon bully me with it, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I like it for the fine tuning a little bit. I don't mind it. Like
fine tuning.
Like a Breath of the Wild thing, just a little extra nudge at the end.
Okay,
you know?
but I'm thinking like I would still prefer to use a mouse.
Okay, well of course, yeah, we're only human.
Yeah, but I do. Yeah, if I like Breath of the Wild does really well where you engage it, right? Like it's not always on.
Right.
It's just like you turn it on just to kind of inch it around, and like Fortnite on Switch kind of lets you do that. Like I do like it. I think it can be done well. It's funny because we still sort of think of the Wii when we think of motion controls, but I do get these reminders often, especially playing VR in particular, where it's like motion controls are actually like really good today. Like they function really well. I don't know if they necessarily make games better, but the technology is like thousands of times better than it was when you were playing Wii Sports for the first time.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Podbod writes in and says, hey, Ben Hansen and the cucumber-loving cohorts. Sure. How do you think your personalities would change if we only had landlines and never had communication via internet or cell phones? If you wanted to hang out with someone, you'd have to call them up and schedule a time. You couldn't get outraged at a stranger's opinion on the web. How would your personality change, do you think?
I love this question because I think about it all the time, because what he's describing was the pre-internet world that I grew up in, and that like kids aren't even going to know from now on.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Who remembers?
What are you talking
what
about?
That was like?
No, I had a similar reaction. I mean, like I think I got AOL Instant Messenger in like the middle of high school or something.
Really?
I didn't have a cell phone until like middle of high school. Like the majority of my play dates as a child were from calling somebody. So this isn't something I have to imagine. I think I exist in this odd generation where I did actually get a taste of both.
Okay, but what about now? Like what if it was just
Oh,
Like,
now?
how would your personality be different now, though?
We'd all be happier
Do you think?
and less anxious. Yes.
Every once in a while I think about that. I feel like maybe just, people online can get sanctimonious about not being online. But that idea of like, oh, I unplugged from social for 2 months and I got so much done. I wrote 3 great American novels. And it's like, everyone in the 1800s wasn't, I would imagine they aren't all like cool, enlightened beings. They're like sucking on logs and killing rats and stuff. It's like,
You don't have to suck on logs.
Well, I'm just saying.
That's not like the two ends of a different spectrum.
I just think sometimes people really, even though I am also fried by social media and the internet, and reading all these dastardly YouTube comments on this video, I also feel like I don't think I would have reached nirvana if Twitter didn't exist, which I think people can kind of gravitate to as just a concept,
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, Christian Jimenez writes in and says, Christian asks, what are some video game coverage journalism pet peeves you don't like to see? Thank you, says Christian.
I don't know if this applies, and I'm always hesitant to say stuff like this because I feel like I'm calling people out.
Yeah.
But I really don't care about your word count, like, at all. Like,
What do you
see
mean?
people be like, I just finished a 10,000 word thing, or I wrote this thing.
Interesting.
And I'm like, that means nothing to me. Even as a person who was very focused on character and word count,
Yeah.
for a large part of my career, like, it does not mean anything to me. It just is nothing. It could be 5 words. It could be 10,000. It doesn't matter.
Is it the same thing when we're like, hey, check out the deepest dive on Final Fantasy VII Remake? It's 14 hours long. I mean, that's the same thing, right?
It's different for some reason because it's like entertainment, right? It's like the length of a movie is a factor, but I don't know. Something about it just rubs me the wrong way when I see people talking about how many words they've written. I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal pet peeve or something,
Yeah.
but it bugs me for some reason.
Yeah, I think length does not equate quality when it comes to writing because a lot of what makes writing good is when you're concise about what you're saying.
Right. I complain about it too much, but it's always just, it's an old song and dance, but the lack of, or I guess especially on the weekends, the amount of just general entertainment coverage that comes from big video game sites. And I'm not pointing fingers at IGN and GameSpot, but...
This is about your spoilers?
Well, no, the spoilers is outrageous and unforgivable. And I hate it so much. They're so terrible about everything. God, that's really the greatest relief of like something like Mandalorian not being on the air right now is that I don't have to deal with their terrible tweets.
You got so bad.
They're outrageous, and everyone tries to dance around, and it sucks. But it's more just like you go on Twitter on the weekend, and it's like GameSpot tweeting their 4th story about Alec Baldwin shooting somebody. I'm like, what? It's just like, is anything that's worth conversing over fair game? Is that just the takeaway? And I know, Sarah, as a social media expert, you say yay, but it's just, I don't know. I'm annoyed.
Yay for engagement.
You like,
yeah, you always scream that.
you like focus, right? You want if you're a video game site, stick with video games.
I guess, yeah. It's just like, yeah, when we're
If
getting
you're
into
a podcast about games, friends, and getting better, we don't need to discuss
right.
the latest Marvel television show.
When it's talking about rumors of like B-tier casting in the next CW show for DC, it's just like, what are we doing here, everybody? Shut up. But
Sure.
Yeah,
that's the sign they have to get off Twitter.
It's the endless churn. The things that annoy me are like and I may have been guilty of this in myself in the past, but like the 2-sentence news stories that you can tell, especially having done it in the past myself, you can tell when the writer just does not care and they just have to write this story.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know why I clicked. You got me to click on it, I guess, so congratulations, but you don't care. I don't care. What the hell are we doing with our lives? And then the other story is like, it'll be like everything we know about GTA 6. And it'll be like, Rockstar has made a huge success out of the GTA series. And sooner or later, they're going to announce a GTA 6. And we'll put the details here when we find it. It's like, oh, you bastards.
Yeah. Isn't it nice being...
And sometimes it's like, does this game have co-op? Click on it.
Right.
We don't know if this game has co-op yet. So, ew.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
It's really nice being like an independent site. You don't have to deal with that crap. Honestly, can you imagine if we just had to keep a news feed rolling on like MinnMax.com or something, just like that grind? Oh, it's a luxury. Muffin Crumbs writes in and says, "Hey, Ben and Company, I'm back with another round of multimedia franchise quantity over quality. In case you forgot, this game involves me listing two.
That's my favorite Kingdom Hearts game, by the way.
This game involves me listing two multimedia franchises. You guess which one has had more video games. All right, Kyle, which one has had more video games? Star Wars or Pokemon?
Ooh. You know, I'm going to go Pokemon.
The answer is Star Wars, 169 to 124. And they say, get this, included in the Star Wars video games are 12 educational games such as Star Wars Jedi Math and Star Wars Jedi Reading.
This is counting like Leapfrog
Maybe,
stuff, isn't it?
maybe, yeah.
Oh, sure.
Okay,
yeah.
Sarah.
I mean, that number's pretty close, though. I mean, there's a lot of Pokemon spin-offs to take, think about.
Okay, Sarah, this is exactly up your alley. This is like how I see you as a person. Are these two franchises?
Can't wait. Can't wait to figure out what it is.
Tron versus The Land Before Time. Who has had more video games?
Tron. Are we counting like? I want to say. It's The Land Before Time. How many games can you make?
How many movies could they make? Is the real question.
How many movies do they make?
Is there like a game per movie? I guess I'll go Land Before Time.
Correct! At 14 versus Tron's 10. I have never even considered a Land... There's probably a PlayStation 1 Land Before Time game.
Some Game Boy games, probably.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of CD-ROM games.
Right. By the way, I don't want to tell any companies how to live their lives, but you know what movie would do gangbusters? If they did a CG remake of the first Land Before Time. Just take like the sound, take the original VO, and just go all out with like some great looking dinosaur movie. It could kick the butt of good dinosaur. That wet fart. Anyways, hey Jeff,
they kind of did that with Pokemon, right?
Yeah, and look at that.
And you watched that and loved it, right?
Honestly, I did watch it.
Oh, really?
It was fine. I watched with my nephews, to be fair, so it barely counts. Anyways, Jeff, Digimon versus Pirates of the Caribbean.
Digimon, digital monsters.
Are they the champions? Correct. They are the champions.
Really?
Yep. 56 versus Pirates of the Caribbean's 11. Slam dunk. All right, this is interesting.
There's a really good Pirates of the Caribbean MMO for free that Disney put out, and it was actually very fun.
Okay, I'm trying to remember.
You played as a pirate, and you ran around, and I literally faked being sick so I could stay home from school to play my Pirates of the Caribbean MMO.
So there was also another Pirates of the Caribbean game that came out in 2003 that I remember, like, Grant, friend of the show, was really into, but that wasn't an MMO. But this was specifically an MMO Pirates game?
Yeah, it was an MMO. Like, you
Weird.
and a bunch of other kids ran around as pirates, and you rode in your ships and you pirated.
Weird.
And Jack Sparrow was there.
Oh boy. I mean, Leafeon in the Backstage Pass says Pirates Online was so good.
Earlier this year?
Yeah, I think you're thinking of Sea of Thieves, Sarah. You're an adult.
No!
All right. Hey, Kyle.
It was a good MMO!
We believe you. We believe you. Kyle, Dune versus Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, gosh. You know, I'm going to go Wallace and Gromit because I think there's a Telltale Wallace and Gromit. Are we right? That had episodes?
There is. I don't know if they're counting the episodes.
Counting those individually?
But they say there are 11 Wallace and Gromit games. I don't know if they'd be counting them separately. It's unclear.
Okay.
Okay, grand finale, Sarah. Terminator versus...
I missed Dune. How many Dune? I missed how many Dunes there were.
6.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I was really annoyed. Like, after that movie, which I absolutely loved, we talked about it on the MinnMax Council podcast, I went because I wanted to go and play Dune 2000, which is a RTS that Westwood made after Dune 2 and all that stuff. And I found it like on abandonware, and I couldn't get it up and running on a modern computer. So if anybody knows how to get Dune 2000 up and running, I'd love to play it.
It's not on GOG?
No, not on GOG. Like, talk about a missed opportunity. EA, whoever owns that, I understand the licensing's tough, but like, if they would have put like the Dune RTS out again, it would have been perfect timing. Anyways, Sarah.
I mean, they put Jodorowsky's Dune on sale to rent. That was really smart.
That is super smart.
Yeah.
I'd like to actually rewatch that now. Anyways, Sarah,
Yeah.
the question is, Terminator versus Ghostbusters.
I'm gonna go Ghostbusters.
The answer is Terminator with 30 versus Ghostbusters at 21. Fun fact, there is a chess game called T2 Chess Wars. That sounds amazing. Who are the pawns? Hang on. This game.
We are.
Yeah, that's really great. All right, what do y'all like for a question of the week?
Oh.
I like the journalism pet peeves. I like the space games. I like favorite crimes.
And you talked about space movies.
Yeah, I like
during.
my favorite part about space games is talking about space movies. Let's see, spooky games, most influential game. I think that's pretty good.
I like that one actually. Most influential because that was a good chat.
Yeah.
Sarah threw out her chaos seeds.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a video.
Jeff, how you
Chaos
feeling?
seeds.
Go with that one.
Sarah, how you feeling?
Yeah, I'll go with it. I liked watching you guys argue over my opinions
Okay, great.
amongst yourselves.
Uh-huh. Congratulations, Aaron Yu. We'll send you a message over on Patreon and ship out a wonderful Switch copy of What the Gulf, thanks to I Am 8-Bit. A fantastic game and a great game to have on Switch. That game really is awesome. So congratulations, Aaron Yu, and thanks to I Am 8-Bit. Help support them by checking out their online store. Now it's time for something that we personally like to call Get a Load of This. Okay, Sarah, I won't make you go first because I feel like you were panicking trying to find one a little while ago.
I know I got one. I always got one.
Okay, do you want to go
In
first?
my back pocket. Sure, I can go first. Get a load of this, you guys. There is a keyboard on the market, and in the top right, it's got a little tiny LED screen, and there's a little white doggy in it. And whenever you type, the little white doggy runs. When you press space, it jumps. When you put caps locks on, it like barks. It's like a little pixel dog.
That's fun.
And when you hit control, it crouches.
That's good. So it's like a Tamagotchi dog keyboard.
It literally it is. Yeah, it's like a Tamagotchi on your keyboard.
That's really smart. There's a link below if anybody wants to check it out. Kyle's realizing now he's gonna have to buy that.
You might have to build it. I don't know if it like comes
Oh,
pre-made, but I definitely want it.
that seems cool. Hey, get a load of this. There's a nice tweet from our boy Zachary. He just tweeted out a picture of his cat. It's a nice, good, fat cat with an Among Us doll in the cat's crib or whatever it's called, cat's cradle. But he says, with the development of Smash Brothers finished, you no longer have to worry about suspicion of participating in the war. Now, even if you put out such a picture, there is no problem. And it's just nice to see him liberated that he can just tweet about video games now.
I'm so happy for him.
Yeah.
So happy.
Right. And I don't know.
He's finally at peace.
This is the automatic.
I can finally tweet a picture of an Among Us plush.
Sarah, I don't want to put you on the spot, but it is like auto-translated from Japanese. So I'm curious what the translation is for. You no longer have to worry about suspicion of participating in the war.
That's what I was wondering. Participating in the war.
Yeah, I sent you the tweet. No pressure, but if you can translate that, that'd be awesome, and we'd all be very impressed. Jeffem, you got something?
Yeah, get a load of this. This was a video put out by People Make Games, and it's called "The Inside Story of Mass Effect 3's Ending Finally Told." It's a half an hour kind of documentary conversation. They interviewed like 9 former BioWare developers and kind of go through the entire controversy and get their opinions on what happened and the backlash to it, and like philosophically the concept of redoing an ending because of people complaining on the internet and stuff. And it's a really good watch.
Cool. I'll check it out. Did you see that thing, Sarah?
Yeah, I did.
Do you know what it says?
It is like he is using the word like participating in a war, but personally that could be like some kind of weird Japanese net lingo that I don't understand.
Okay.
But it's kind of like it's the war of like, yeah, it's pretty an accurate translation, but I mean, I don't know the net lingo.
Sure.
That.
The online flame war type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Hey, get a load of this. Maybe you've talked about this before. I don't know. But there's this Twitter account called @just_s'mores. And there's an affiliated Instagram account called Just S'mores Things. And it's this person that you probably know pretty well. if you follow MinnMax, just doing little videos about s'mores food and candy. It's Cereal Vasquez, and he just eats s'mores food and reviews it. And he's got like, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Like he's got 20 videos of just reviewing various s'mores things.
Did he read his contract? Cereal eating stuff is legally owned by MinnMax as the corporation.
Can't do that.
Yeah, he's not allowed to do that. That's very
And he
fun.
has this great bit about Yogurt Week. If you watch them in order, please go check it out.
What is it called?
He's not promoting it at all. It's like I didn't even know it was him. I just like fell down this rabbit hole, and I was like, wait a second, this is cereal.
Yeah, what is it called? The link's below for everybody, but
yeah. So on Twitter, it's just why can't I say underscore? Just underscore s'mores. And then Instagram is where you really want to go, and that's just s'mores things.
Okay, the Twitter will link to the Instagram. There it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
18 followers. Okay, this better be not 18
Bump
by the
it up.
time this podcast. Okay, I'm hitting follow.
Good job. Did you get one from the community, Jeff, from the Discord?
I did. Get a load of this. This one ties back nicely into the artists ripping people off conversation. This one came from Jake Loader, maybe, I don't know.
Louder.
It's a tweet by Alex Stapp, and it's basically running through an artist named Mischief bought an Andy Warhol drawing for $20,000. It's a very simple doodle, but he bought it for $20,000. He made 999 high quality forgeries of it because it's a very simple drawing.
Yeah.
And then he shuffled them all together, and he destroyed any evidence of like which is the real one. And he's selling all 1,000 of them for $250 each. And so you have a 1 in 1,000 chance that you'll get the $20,000 drawing, or 999% chance you'll get the other one, but you'll never know for sure. And so he's going to make $250,000 from that. And I feel like it's another instance of like, I can't really fault him. Like people, the art folks have so much money that they're throwing around on stupid things. Good for you.
Yeah. Punish the art folks. I'm with you, Jeff.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much for watching or listening to the podcast, everybody. Let's see. We have Extra Life coming up. That is our big charity stream to raise money for Gillette Children's Specialty Healthcare in St. Paul, Minnesota. That's coming up Saturday, November 6th. We're going to be starting at 8 a.m. and streaming for 25 hours straight. It's going to be a collaboration with Game Informer once again. Should be a very fun time. A lot of multiplayer gaming, a lot of different segments in there. We pack it full. We also have a bunch of things to auction off, including... there's a bunch of really good things like for my 8-bit and beyond, but then there's also a cribbage board that my dad made. He's been making cribbage boards his entire life, so this is like cribbage board number like 1100 or something. So if you want to win a cribbage board that my dad made out of wood and also help support charity at the same time, also White Mex in the MinnMax community made a custom Game Boy Advance with a MinnMax skin on it. We're going to be auctioning that off for charity. So that's going to be happening next Saturday. So mark your calendar, everybody, November 6th. And it's going to be us and Game Informer, and then also Easy Allies, featuring some Easy Allies folks in there. So there should be some fun competitions happening between the three of us. So get ready for that. Also, be sure to follow MinnMax Show on Instagram. Once you're done looking at cereal eating s'mores, check out MinnMax Show on Instagram. If you leave a comment on the post that's announcing this podcast is live with all of our beautiful faces in it, you can win a code for Before Your Eyes on Steam, one of my favorite games of the year. We're giving away a code. We just gave one out to Chow Tung. So congratulations. They won the last code, but follow us on Instagram and you can win a bunch of free stuff. Sarah, you got stuff going on? Oh, by the way, Jeff, look alive on Slack. I sent you the list of $50 names to read at the end of the show. So look forward to that. But anyway, Sarah, do you have something to plug?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at SarahPods or on my Twitch page at SarahPods. We are wrapping up our month of horror. I'm currently playing Resident Evil 3, and then I'm going to start on the new Fatal Frame coming out to Switch. So very excited for that. And then I will be finally free of this horror prison that I have built for myself.
Yeah, congratulations. You do know that's a port, right, of the Wii U game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because I wanted to play the Wii U one, but I just never got around to it.
Yep, that's
very
natural.
excited.
That's cool. Yeah, I guess we should mention we're also going to be doing a Halloween stream here at MinnMax on Thursday. If you're listening to this, give us a follow on Twitch. Myself and my old friend Ronnie, we're going to be playing Phasmophobia and maybe some other horror games along the way. So tune in live. All right. Hey, Jeff, I don't know if you know this, but we exist because people supporting us on Patreon. As entities, we exist because of that. That's why our parents decided to create us. And you can get your name read on every episode of the podcast if you support us at the $50 tier. Also, your name in every description for every video. And it goes a little something like this, Jeff.
I don't have the list. I don't know what you're talking about.
I sent it to you on Slack. Jeff,
I don't have.
you don't have Slack? Do you have it on your
What have you
phone?
done to me?
Jeff,
What have you done?
just guess the names, dude. We're panicking. There's dead air.
John.
John? There's no John. There's no John.
Ben? Is there a Ben? Benjamin.
Oh my God, this is so long. Synced Up Podcast, Timmy Tie Oh No, Fixture Gaming, Fixture S1, I Am 8-Bit, Zachary Pligge, Ludwig Roque, Bryan with a Y, Andrew Vala, BeatenDownBrian, PrettyGoodPrinting.com, Jawarhello, Mark Seliga, John Higby, Mirko Arico-Torreno, Connor McCabe, Drew Waranis, Dan Villone, Steve Bamdad, Purebred Number 6, Clemens Zobel, Ted Ryser, Starkiller, Spider Dan, SpiralInYourEyes, Preetham Yarlagadda, which I always get wrong, and General Nady 99.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody. Be good. Have fun. Let's go. All right. Beautiful. Everybody remember to take their super cool selfie. Send it to that guy, Brian Vore. Cool. And I guess Jeff and Kyle, we're not done. So we'll be back.
At 5, right?
Does 4:30 work, Kyle?
Is that when the show's over?
So the stream is 20 minutes, I believe they said, didn't they?
Yeah, it should be fine.
Okay. And then Jeff, you're down for that reaction stream?
Yeah, that's at 4.
Yeah. And Jacob Keller is going to be joining us.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. All right, thanks so much, everybody. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Hang on, everybody. I'm going to try something. I'm going to try something I don't recommend at home. I'm going to try calling my friend to get that story. I don't think they mind. And if they do, then we just won't include it. She's going to think I'm dying.
Hello?
Hello, Meg.
Yes, hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I answered because I was worried.
I know. I realize if you call somebody, you're going to think that I'm dead. I'm not dying.
Okay.
But we were talking on the podcast, and technically you're live right now for a couple of people on the Patreon. What is that story about you going to a Thanksgiving dinner with Matt Damon?
Oh, I didn't go with him. I was dating or hooking up with a guy that is his cousin.
Okay, but you went,
Yeah.
So you went to this Thanksgiving and Matt Damon was there?
Sorry, I'm in a meeting. I'm trying to listen to you.
Oh my God. All right. Okay. Never mind. Never mind then. You go focus on your job.
Okay, sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you, sorry.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Good times, everybody. Okay. That won't be included in the podcast. Bye.